When Emma walked out that night, suitcase in hand and eyes burning with a mix of guilt and defiance, I didn't beg. I didn't even ask where she was going. She wanted me to. I could see it in the way she lingered at the door, waiting for me to stop her, to plead, to give her the validation her betrayal craved. But I only looked at her, calm and quiet, as the taxi headlights flashed against her face. "Don't wait up," she said coldly. "I wasn't planning to," I replied. She flinched. That was the last thing I said before the door shut between us. 2 years of marriage, gone in a moment of cowardice and desire. She'd been distant for months, always on her phone, staying late for work meetings, and claiming exhaustion when I tried to talk. I'd suspected, of course. You can feel when love turns into performance. The hugs that used to linger became mechanical. The smiles became rehearsed. But instead of confronting her, I waited. Sometimes silence exposes more truth than shouting ever could. The next morning, her sister called, pretending not to know anything. "She just needs space, Daniel," she said softly. "Don't take it personally." I almost laughed. Space? Emma hadn't left for space. She'd left with Tyler, her colleague, the same one who used to conveniently drop her off after late nights. I knew about them weeks before she left. She had no idea that her work phone was linked to our home cloud account. Every message, every hotel booking, every photo, all of it synced. I watched as she texted him, "He'll be fine. He never fights for anything anyway." That one line broke something in me. Not my heart, that was already in pieces, but my silence. I decided then that my revenge wouldn't be loud. It would be calm, deliberate, unforgettable. While she spent the next few weeks with Tyler, pretending she'd found her freedom, I quietly dismantled everything that tied us together. The house was mine, bought long before we met, and she'd only ever signed a temporary cohabitation agreement. Her name wasn't on a single bill, not a single asset. I canceled her cards linked to my account, closed the joint savings, and moved her things into storage. Not in anger, but precision. I made sure every dress, every framed photo, every trace of her was neatly boxed, labeled, and removed. Then came the part that made her speechless. 3 weeks later, she returned unannounced, maybe expecting tears, a scene, or a second chance. The sound of her heels in the hallway still haunts me. She always walked fast when nervous. When she opened the door, the living room was empty except for a single box on the floor. I was sitting calmly at the table, drinking coffee. "Daniel," she said, voice trembling slightly. What happened here?" I didn't look up right away. "You left," I said simply. "I just made it official." She blinked, confused, then angry. "You can't just." "I can," I interrupted gently. And I did. She stepped forward, her voice rising. "Where's my stuff?" "In storage. There's a list inside the box with the address. And your phone is over there. You left it on the dresser the night you left." Her eyes darted to the box. Inside, she saw the printed photos she'd once framed, the trips, the anniversaries, the smiles. On top, I'd placed her wedding ring. Next to it was an envelope. She hesitated, then opened it. It wasn't a letter of rage or heartbreak. Just a printed bank statement showing the final transfer, her parting settlement, fair and precise. At the bottom, a note in my handwriting, "You once said I never fight for anything. This time, I fought for my peace." Her mouth opened, then closed. She stared at me like she didn't recognize the man in front of her. Maybe she didn't. The Daniel she knew was patient, forgiving, desperate to make things work. The one before her now was calm, detached, the kind of calm that frightens people who expect anger. "I made a mistake," she whispered finally. "Tyler's not, it's not what I thought." I looked up, finally meeting her eyes. "I know," I said quietly. "He already called me." Her expression froze. "He what?" I took another sip of coffee. "He came here a few days ago." Thought you were still living with me. He said he couldn't handle your mood swings, your jealousy, your drinking. He wanted to apologize, not to you, to me. Said he didn't expect you'd actually leave me for him. Her face drained of color. You're lying. I shook my head. No. He left his apology message on your old phone. You can listen to it if you want. She didn't. She just stood there, tears welling up, her lips trembling as if the world she'd built in her head had collapsed under its own delusion. Daniel, please. I was confused. I thought you didn't care anymore. I thought. You thought wrong, I said, standing up. You mistook peace for indifference. You mistook silence for weakness. She stepped closer, desperate. We can fix this. Please. I'll end things with him, I'll move back. There's no back, Emma. My voice stayed calm, but I saw the words hit her harder than any scream could. You didn't just leave me. You left us. The life, the trust, the future. And that's something I don't rebuild. She tried to speak, but no words came out. Her tears fell freely now, not from guilt, but realization. That calm, final realization that she had gambled everything for nothing. I picked up my jacket, walked past her, and stopped by the door. I'll give you 15 minutes before the movers lock up. Take whatever's in the box if you want. But after today, don't come back here. Ever. When I stepped outside, the air was sharp and cold. I didn't look back. I heard her faint sob through the door, followed by silence. That was the last sound I ever heard from her. Weeks later, a mutual friend told me she'd tried to see me at my office. My secretary turned her away, politely, just as I'd instructed. She had seen me through the glass, apparently, smiling, talking to someone new. I didn't confirm it, but I knew it must have killed her inside. And that was my revenge, not rage, not ruin, but peace. Because nothing unsettles a guilty heart more than realizing the person they broke no longer cares. She left with another man. But when she came back, she found out the calmest revenge of all was being completely forgotten.